Alright, here's the next bike I'm going to be working on. This is a 1976 BMW R90/6, and do a quick little walk around with it. Not enough room in this garage. But I think the first thing I'm going to try on this is, you can see all this scaliness on the aluminum, so I'm going to try to kind of scuff that off using some Scotch-Brite pads and try to clean that up and see if we can get that aluminum looking a little bit nicer. Alright, so I'm just hitting a little bit of this with some Scotch-Brite, just knocking this scaliness off and all the road grime that's been on it, and trying to get it back to the bare aluminum look like from the factory. And then I'm going to treat it, and we're going to see if we can preserve that natural look of this aluminum. We're going to go ahead and remove the horn just to get it out of the way, and we're probably going to refinish the horn as well. But it's a 13 millimeter. The bolt is up here at the top. It's kind of hard to see, but we're going to go ahead and remove that, and then we'll remove the wire connectors also on the horn. I always like to put the bolts back where they came out of so you don't lose them. Pull these beaks back on the horn itself. And it looks like just unplugs. Green one on the top, white and brown on the bottom. Okay, just want to show you this real quick. Just hit these with scuff pads, hit this front cover, and hit the side of the motor. And I'm starting to do the fins on the cylinder head here, and you can just see the difference in the few that I've hit to the ones that I haven't hit yet. And just taking a little Scotch-Brite pad and just rubbing it back and forth. It's not scratching the material any, it's just taking all that road grime and years of neglect off of it. Okay, one of the next things I wanted to do is clean up these crash bars. I hit this a little bit with, I guess it's the 40 Brillo pad, or steel wool, I mean, and I just hit this just to see what it would do, because I'm not real crazy about these crash bars. I don't know if I'm going to leave them on or not. To me, I think it takes away a little bit from the classic lines of the airhead with these cylinders sitting out. But at the same time, I do kind of like the crash bars on here to protect it just in case it ever goes down. But I just hit this a little bit with this steel wool, and it's really brought them out nice. So I'm going to continue to hit this with it. maybe go over it with some metal polish and kind of see how nice they come out and see how they look, and maybe try a little bit of this on some of the exhaust and see if we can get some of this discoloration from just years of just sitting in storage. This was pretty much sitting in a basement. It was used, but not very much over the last 5-6 years. He would take it out, start it running a little bit, just to keep everything running and keep everything from drying up, and so I'm just gonna doing this first just to see what we can get the bike to look like before I tear in and start doing the maintenance on it. But right now everything works on this bike pretty much. There's a few little things that need to be worked out, but just want to do this first to kind of see what it'll look like cleaned up, and then we'll move on there to the maintenance. Okay, I might be jumping around a little bit on the bike, just doing some cleaning on some of the chrome parts here to see how it would come out. Don't know how good this camera is going to bring out, but did polish the exhaust here on this side, and it came out pretty well. There's still some pitting and discolorization here, but so far it's coming out pretty good. Cleaned the motor up on this side just using some Scotch-Brite pads and some elbow grease. Cleaned the top of the carb off with some steel wool, and along with the chrome of this crash bar with the steel wool as well. It came out really well. Got in between the grooves of the cylinder head here, and that's looking a lot better. But also started working on the wheel, and I don't know if you can see, let me put the camera up here, but I don't know if it's going to pull out on these, but these spokes were all very rough and discolorized, and you can see the back spokes there still have some rust on it. I haven't done those yet. Haven't really done any of these spokes yet except for these two. I don't know if you can see. I just went over them with some real fine sandpaper, some Scotch-Brite pads, and then polished it with some metal polish that I have, and it's made these two spokes look almost brand new. And so it's very time consuming, especially when you've got so much corrosion and buildup on these spokes, and there's so many of them. It is a tedious job. I hate doing spokes on wheels. Like I said in one of my other videos, I said I think the spokes are something that if you have a teenage kid that's on restriction, this would be a good job for him to do. These two came out pretty well. Some of them have a lot of corrosion on it, like this one here, and I don't know how well it's going to come out, but we're going to give it a shot. Alright, I'm pretty impressed at how the wheel came out. Still not perfect, but you can see there's actually some shine to it. It doesn't look all dull. There's a lot of work, several hours of going over these spokes and going over the wheel itself. Like I said, I went over it with sandpaper, like 320 grit, then 1500 grit sandpaper, and then 4-aught steel wool, and then some polish, and they actually came up pretty good. There's some, I don't know if you can see up close, there's still some corrosion on some of these. They're not perfect, but they do look, it does look 100 times better. I'll take you back here to the back wheel and see if you can tell the difference. Look how dull the back wheel is and has corrosion all over it. So this front wheel does look a lot nicer, has a little bit of shine to it, and I wanted to do it now with the old tires on it, so I didn't get the polish and everything all over the new tires. Not that it's a real big deal, but just, might as well do it now. And so yeah, moving along. I'm not sure if I'm going to start the back one today or just work on some other things of cleaning this bike up, trying to get it look nicer, and then start tearing it down. I'm waiting for some parts to come in. Didn't want to tear anything down until the parts came in, so we'll move on to something else. A little degreaser and a toothbrush and scrub it in here. getting all these little rubber pieces clean, and seems to be doing a good job. Alright, I took the fairing off the bike just to kind of clean this front end a little bit, and I wanted to take the headlight off to see if I can figure out why the clock's not working. It's got voltage to the clock. I think the clock may just be fried. May have to take the clock all the way off to check it out, but just wanted to show you a little bit of cleaning that I did up here. I just took some degreaser in a toothbrush and hit these gauges. These gauges did look like this one, and just hit them with the toothbrush and kind of cleaned them down and wiped them down, and they look real good. So I'm going to do this one next. I'll show you before and after. Actually, I'll try to shoot this one-handed here. So you see, let's get some degreaser. Gonna spray a little on there. Hope this is coming out in the picture. And I just took a toothbrush and kind of scrubbed in all these little grooves that these things have on it. Sorry about trying to do this one-handed here and scrub at the same time. Hope I got everything in the frame. But just scrub over it real good. I mean, you can see the years of gunk that's coming out of there. And then just clean them off with the shop towel. And you can just see already how much better that looks compared to the side that I didn't really hit. Now I'll hit that after when I can do it with both hands, but it really cleans these up and makes them look nice. Like I said, I'm not going for a show bike on this thing, but just want to clean off all the years of grime and gunk that's been sitting on it. Try to make it look a little bit better. I got the gaiters to the front suspension cleaned up some. Once I took the front fairing off, you can see the difference between the ones I couldn't get to from the having it on. It was blocking it. So I'm going to clean all this up in here. Unfortunately, it's like 10 degrees outside, so I can't go outside and just hose this whole thing down. So just kind of doing it little by little. Here's the front wheel. Clean the spokes up on it. They look pretty good. There's some that are pretty grungy that aren't going to come out, but it is what it is. So yeah, so we're just keep working on cleaning this thing up. I'm still waiting for parts to come in so I can get into changing the oil pan gasket and doing all the service on the bike. So just doing cosmetic stuff now. I know everything works on this bike, so I'm not really worried about, you know, having to get it run and test drive it, all that. I've already done all that. I know it drives, runs, charges the battery, does all those things. It's just now needing to do the whole maintenance to it. So I'm just going to clean it up first, get rid of this gunk and grime on it, and then I'll get into going through and doing all the maintenance items. Okay, what I'm doing now is I'm putting a treatment on this aluminum to keep it from corroding again. And what I'm using, I don't know if you can see it in this, but it's ACF 50. It protects, penetrates, and lubricates. It's a lubricant that I believe was made by like a one of the space agencies to use on the aircraft that goes into space to keep it from getting corrosion. And as you can see, I just have a rag. I spray some on a rag and just kind of rubbing it in. And sorry about the camera shaking. Just kind of rubbing it in the grooves where I want to protect it. And we're going to see how long it lasts on this cylinder head with the cylinder head getting heat to it. But just trying to protect this aluminum that I just cleaned and keep it from corroding again and looking terrible. I've got several recommendations on one of the forums about using this ACF 50, and they said how well it worked, and I guess it's kind of like a WD-40 but a lot better apparently, and it's supposed to last. So it goes on, and it's definitely made this aluminum look a lot better and cleaner. And apparently it also repels grime and dirt and makes it easier to wash off the next time you go to clean whatever surfaces you use it on. So let's give this a shot on it and see how it looks. Okay, next I want to see if I can do anything with this gas tank. This thing is super rough, and I know the paint's not going to come back on it, but maybe I can get some shine to it. I know it's got these, if you want to call it patina marks on it, I kind of like to keep. I mean, a nice shiny bike is beautiful, but then you tend not to ride it because you don't want to get it dirty or whatever. I wanted this as a rider, but I want it to look nice, so I'm going to try to hit this with a clay bar and then maybe see if I can polish on it a little bit, get a little bit of shine back to this. If it keeps the patina, I'm fine with that, but just want to get some shine back if possible. See what we can do with it. Okay, what I did was I hit this with some clay bar. Why my mind just went blank. Did it with the clay bar. It knocked a lot of the rough stuff off. Now I'm going to hit it with some polish and the polishing, the DA buffer, and see if we can get a little bit of shine back to this, make it look a little nicer. I did tape off the side leg rubber here and the emblem, so I didn't want to get a bunch of wax and stuff all in there, and rubbing compound and things. So I'm going to hit this with several different grades of compound. I'm using Chemical Guys. I think the first one is, where did I set it? Chemical Guys 32. So I'm going to hit that first, and then we'll step up each time. I've got a couple compounds, although I don't know what I did with two of them. So we'll hit it. I've got some different compounds. We'll hit it with the polisher and see if we can get some shine back on this thing. Okay, I got done with the polishing. Did a time lapse on it. I don't know if I'll include it in this video or not, but went over it with quite a few different compounds, and it did what I thought it was going to do. It took a lot of the paint off, but it did give it a little bit of a shine and smoothed it out a lot. So it didn't feel like, before it felt like sandpaper, and you know, it took some of the paint off. Took a little bit of the pinstriping off on the sides, but I think it looks a lot better. Let me take you around to the front fender so you can kind of see a difference from that to what this front fender looks like. I mean, it's just rough, you can hear it. And now this, nice and smooth, feels good. Looks a lot better. I wish the top of the tank looked as good as the side. So I'm probably going to do the fender. Well, I'm definitely going to do the fender too, the front fender. We'll see about the back when I get to it and remove the seat and everything for the maintenance that's going on. But it did make it look a ton better. I actually really like this color, and it kind of brought out a little bit of an orange color in this. I thought it was more of a red. But it really brought out some orange, so I'm going to definitely check the paint coat on this. This might not be the color I thought it was, but it looks good for what I want, and you know, not going for the showroom finish, just going for the originality, and I think it looks good. We'll take this tape off of it so you can see what it looks like without the tape on it. Okay, here it is with the tape off. really shines on the sides, really nice. The top part, it shines, but there's, you can tell really where the paint has just worn off from the being out in the elements for too long on the back of a motorhome. I accidentally hit some of the pinstriping and kind of wore it down. I don't know if you can see it much in this picture, but I took some of the pinstriping off on this side. But you know, it's hopefully protected. I did put a coat of wax on it too, protect it from the sun anymore, so hopefully it'll stop the damage that's already been done. But it did give it a little bit of shine. I'm real happy with it.